Hey everybody, Black Ninja 797 here, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are once again going to be doing another Left 4 Dead 2 ranking video. Thank you guys so much for the support on the last video. The last video, I actually requested that you guys would be able to actually reach a higher like goal. In fact, me having a like goal is actually just so unlike me. I normally just take what I can get, but not only have you guys been reaching the like goals, but the fact that you guys went above and beyond the like goal in both the videos, just all the videos in general. Thank you guys, I tremendously appreciate that. If we could actually hit that same like goal again on today's video, that'd be tremendously appreciated. We might just keep the same like goal for a while, because I think 5 is fair. So yeah, if we can end up hitting 5 likes, guys, I will be more than happy to continue the Left 4 Dead ranking video. So if we can hit 5 likes, that'd be appreciated. But anyways, let's get on with the main video. So, with Left 4 Dead 2 ranking videos, we've done so far guns, we have so far done characters, and we have so far done special infected. This time we're going to be taking a different change of pace. Most of the time a lot of people want to know about the main stuff, but I think I want to go on the side of the more intriguing stuff because a lot of people don't talk about it, and that's going to be game modes. So I am actually going to be ranking all the Left 4 Dead 2 game modes from least to best. Now there is going to be a few exceptions for this video. First off, Mutations mode is not on this list at all, because Mutations mode is a variety of different modes. Mutation is basically a playlist for other party game modes that you can end up playing, and they're all drastically different. So Mutations are actually going to be its own individual video where I'm ranking all the mutations from worst to best. So Mutations is actually not even on the list whatsoever, because otherwise it would just be way too hard to rank every individual possible mutation mode. So we're going to be saving that for another time. So instead, the list that we're going to be ranking is going to be Realism mode, Realism versus mode, Scavenge, Campaign, and Survival. These are going to be all the modes that we're going to be ranking here today, and we're going to be ranking them from least to best. Now, some of these game modes, unfortunately, are kind of like repeats of each other, and that's why it's going to be kind of a little bit hard to rank them. Oh yeah, I completely forgot about the brand new game mode. We actually forgot about Versus Survival. It's been so long since Left 4 Dead's had content, I actually legitimately forgot, my bad. So yeah, we're also going to be ranking that on the list. Anyways, enough of me being derpy. Let's get on with the actual list, shall we? So we're going to be taking all these game modes, whether they're combinations or not, and we're just going to be ranking them from least to best. If you end up enjoying today's video, once again, if you just guys happen to end up enjoying, please consider dropping a like, comment, subscribe, as I always mention in my videos on a regular basis. But yeah, guys, so let's begin with the list. So coming in at the least favorite game mode spot, for me personally, because this is a personal list, I'm going to be putting in Realism mode. Realism mode is honestly the most competitive mode that Left 4 Dead has to offer, because Realism mode is literally just hardcore Left 4 Dead. With Expert mode is definitely a higher difficulty, but Realism mode is for like the uber sweaty guys that want to like prove a point and flex. Because the thing is with this mode, right, is that there's no silhouettes of your teammates. There is also going to be no respawns via the closet. So you can't see your teammates and you don't even know when they're really dead. And that's my two biggest things with it. Because not being able to see your teammates to know whether or not to help you, and also not even being able to bring them back without a defibrillator, it's just a pain in the butt. So I personally am not really that big of a fan of this mode. And I have played it before, and unfortunately you have to play it to get some of the achievements in the game, which is kind of annoying because for me, who's an achievement grinder, I don't particularly like playing this mode. It's not a bad mode, and I can respect the mode, but I just don't personally like it, and it's not honestly my cup of tea. So that's why I'm putting Realism at pretty much the bottom spot, but I know that there is people that like it out there, and I know that it does have its place in Left 4 Dead. So that's going to be for Realism mode. Now let's move on over to the next mode. Funnily enough, the next mode is actually going to be a combination of one of my personal favorite modes with my least favorite modes, and this is Realism Versus. Realism Versus is just Versus mode, but with the Realism rules, and unfortunately, because of the Realism rules, that makes this game mode not really that fun, because Left 4 Dead is a cooperative game, and this does end up having that cooperative sense, where if you want to verse each other, this could be a way that you can end up being cooperative and you can end up being overly sweaty and almost having this be like a competitive mode. because you're versing other people as the zombies with the rules, stipulations, and policies from realism, such as not being able to respawn without defib or not being able to see your teammates' silhouettes. And the unfortunate thing with this game mode is that if somebody's playing as the infected, they're going to have more fun than the survivors, just solely because infected can still see you through walls, and survivors can't see you, nor can they see your teammates, nor can they see their own teammates. So all they can see is them unless it's a direct line of sight, which makes me not like this game mode because it's too much in favor of the infected. Now, if you like playing as the infected, you'll love this mode, but it's just not really that fun because the infected definitely are going to have an easier and more enjoyable time, and I just don't really like thinking of Left 4 Dead in the competitive sense in that regard. I like speed running and I definitely like achievement grinding, but I don't really think of Left 4 Dead as like a cooperative thing that you're going to see on like a major tournament with MLG COD commentators. Jesus Christ, I cannot pronounce that word. It's like when I try to end up pronouncing MLG and LMG sometimes. I always mix those words up. But yeah, so basically, like, I don't want to have like a whole bunch of COD casters and trying to make a big deal of it. I just want to play my game, my version of competitive. I think that's what we all really want with our games. Like, we like being competitive, but in our own ways. And for me, I just like doing it that way. So realism versus, I just don't really particularly care for. That's why I'm placing it where I am placing it. So coming in at the next spot, this is actually going to end up being Scavenge. So with Scavenge, for those of you guys that don't even know what this mode is, I feel like I have to explain because some people may or may not know because you may be new to the Left 4 Dead videos. I'm not just going to assume you guys have played this game or know about it, just in case you are new. But basically the premise of Scavenge, guys, is essentially what this game mode is that there is going to be a set of infected and a set of survivors. You are in a designated area, kind of like in survival mode, where you're going to be trying to get jerry cans or gas cans and trying to fill up a generator in order to end up having the highest score out of the lobby. It is round-based, so let's say that you end up playing as the survivor, right? Your job is to fill up as many gas cans before you die into that generator. Same thing for the infected when they eventually switch, and whoever ends up having the most points at the round before the survivors die wins that round, and whoever has the most wins the game. The infected, your job is obviously to kill everybody so that way they can't end up beating that score. The one reason why I like this game mode in particular compared to realism and realism versus, because you still don't have to worry about the try-hard rules that realism applies. I like the ability of what realism provides. I really do. I'm not trying to poo-poo realism at all. It's just not my thing I want to play on a regular basis. It's just this one thing I want to play once in a blue moon. So Scavenge is one of the game modes that is actually a lot more on the casual side of things. I'm glad that it's on majority of the game modes that are like this, but it does happen to be my least favorite just because the premise is a little bit annoying. Because the problem is with Scavenge is that Scavenge particularly is very, very, very competitively campy. And I'm saying competitive camping as in, like, it feels like it's playing, like, Rainbow Six Siege. That's what I mean by, like, competitive camping. Because with Scavenge, your idea of trying to win is by specifically relying on the placement of the gas cans and knowing where spawns are. So, essentially, if you're playing as, like, let's say as an infected, right? Your job is to play as infected, something that will pretty much try to insta-kill, if not down somebody, and then have your teammates follow up. This would be things like a hunter waiting for a good pounce on a ledge, or a charger waiting around the corner, or a smoker trying to get his tongue around the side. And then as the survivor, you have to be uberly paranoid about every single corner you go around, because you don't know if you're going to end up getting killed by somebody essentially trying to just one-up you and jump scare you to death. Like, I've had that happen to me multiple times in Scavenge, where the infected do not come out unless I'm near a gas can. And it feels like it's this game of trying to juke each other out, because they know where the gas cans are as much as the survivors do. So if I'm playing as a survivor or an infected, it's just kind of like who's going to play chicken first. It's kind of annoying in that sense, and it's just a waiting game, and that's why I particularly don't like it. I like the idea of the premise, but the way that people play it just makes it kind of annoying. So sometimes depending on the lobby you get, you can also end up getting rage quitters. So it just kind of feels like Modern Warfare, the game mode. That's really all I can say at the end of the day. But I do respect what Scavenge does, because when it's done right, it actually is quite enjoyable. So that's where Scavenge places. Now let's move over to the next one. The next game mode that I'm going to end up having in here is going to actually be Versus Survival. This is going to be the one and only brand new game mode that they add into Left 4 Dead. And it's just a combination of survival and versus, which are both game modes I truly enjoy. Now, the thing is, though, is that with versus survival, is that it plays a little bit of the camping game, where if it's actually you as the survivor, you're going to have a little bit more fun, because you just essentially wait for all the infected to come at you. With versus, you're forced to move in order to beat the campaign, and the good news is that the way that the infected are balanced, this is more fair towards both teams. But when they just only need to camp the whole entire time because they're trying to last as long as they want, it does make it definitely more in favor of the survivors, so the survivors will naturally enjoy this game mode more. So if you're playing as a survivor, you're going to have a jolly old time, but if you're playing as an infected, it definitely is going to take a lot of strategic stuff, and if you're not playing with a decent amount of people, and you're only playing with a lot of bots, it's unfortunately not easy to kill the survivors right away. Inevitably, they will die, because survival mode, unless someone's glitching, it's just, they're going to get overwhelmed by AI regardless. But to get a decent record, or to try to be doing it in a competitive sense, it definitely is a lot harder. So that's just where I put versus survival, because versus survival, if you happen to get the infected, it's not as fun as survival or versus would be on its own, if that makes any sense. So yeah, that's where I place that. Now we've only got a select few game modes left. So the next game mode that I'm going to be ranking in here is going to be just normal survival, because normal survival is a lot better than versus survival, just because the only people you are playing as is the survivors, and therefore you don't have to worry about rushing a camper. You are the one camping, which is more fun because you get all the supplies, you get to have them come to you, you don't have to worry about like the jockey 360 cranking 90s trick shot. God, I can't believe I said that even as a joke. But yeah, you don't have to worry about all that crap. And it's just very, very relaxed, very, very chill. You kill a hunter in a fun way. You end up destroying the tank. I love hiding on something like the parish bridge away from a hunter and like shotgunning him around the corner. Or even playing on something like the motel on Dark Carnival and running around trying to end up scavenging loot and trying to run away from a tank. Or even doing things like Dead Center, where I'm on the new versions of the maps, because they had a whole bunch of new survival maps with this update. They just gave every chapter a survival variant. And I love playing on something like Dead Center's Finale, where the room is so humongous and you have a lot to work with that it just makes it fun to like almost train like COD, which is kind of funny. It's like COD Zombies. But yeah, it's very, very casual, very, very relaxed. And the fact that in the new update they added a chapter variant for a whole bunch of different survival opportunities, that's just fun to me. Like, you can play survival on any chapter pretty much in the game now, which is just great. So that's why I like survival, and I even like it more now. But there is still two other game modes that do eventually end up going in the number 1 and number 2 spots. And so for number 2, this is going to be versus mode. Versus mode is an absolute classic. Everyone loves playing as a hunter, jockey, smoker, not the boomer, tank. You know, I would love to say that everyone pretty much likes versus. There's not particularly anybody that I can think of off the top of my head that does not like versus mode. Versus mode is a very fun premise, and it works, because the way that it works is that you are playing as either the infected or as the survivors, but since this game is a chapter-based system, and as well, it does require you to do certain things, that, like, for example, cooperate with your team, or be able to listen to the director, and be able to have social, awareness. It just plays out very, very well. And so if you're playing as a survivor, you can expect that there's probably an infected hiding in some spot that you don't know where they are, but it's a player, and so you can expect them to act a little bit differently than the director would spawn like a normal infected, which makes the game fun because it's the different change of pace. You can sort of predict where the director is eventually going to spawn things. And by the director, for those of you guys that don't know what I mean by that term, it's basically the game or the computer putting certain things in your way, depending on whether or not that you're, like, let's say, cooperating with your team. Like, if you're a lone wolf and you're running away from your team, leaving them to die, it's going to purposely spawn shit in front of you so that way you'll die. It's basically rewarding people for sticking as a team. So that's the one thing with this game mode, is that when you have a combination of the director making it where you can't leave your teammates without basically getting yourself killed, and you can only do so much, plus also with the fact is that you're just in general being able to have a different change of pace with people playing as the infected. They'll act differently than what a director zombie would act like. They'll be in different places. They'll try to combo things differently. It makes it fun for the survivors. As the infected, it's very, very fun just to play as the Infected. Who doesn't like the idea of playing as the tank and beating the crap out of somebody with a car, or playing as a hunter and getting a really cool-ass pounce, or playing as a spitter and getting those unique, cheeky plays where you blow up a propane tank or a gas can with your spit, and you knock somebody down, you get a wombo combo. That's fun. That really is fun, and I enjoy that about the game. And that's why Versus is where it is. Now, obviously, Versus is not the #1 mode, but it definitely is going to be my #1 for like a lot of the party modes. And then coming in at #1, obviously, is just going to be good old classic Left 4 Dead campaign. Because the funny thing is, with Left 4 Dead, I can't believe they actually combined this, because it was a little bit unnecessary. It's so weird not seeing that logo anymore, at least on the PC version. And Left 4 Dead originally had solo as its own mode, and then multiplayer campaign as its own mode. So if you guys remember way back in the day, there was the silhouettes, or I guess you could say not even the silhouette, just the flat-out photo, or symbol, rather, of Ellis, and that was solo mode. And solo mode was just solo mode. It was just you playing the base campaign by yourself. And then any other variant of the campaign, like such as playing with randoms or playing with your teammates, was going to be the multiplayer version. And it had all the gang, like Rochelle, Nick, Coach, and Ellis all together. And that was their own modes. So it's kind of funny, because originally, if you're going off of that ranking system, you would actually end up having 2 separate categories, because I would like to believe they're not the same modes, but now they're the same modes. So if we're going to combine solo with multiplayer, then they're their own mode, which makes them #1. Because funnily enough, if solo was still its own mode, this list would actually be slightly different. Probably what would have happened is I probably would have put multiplayer campaign at #1, and then I probably would have ended up putting solo campaign maybe second or third in between Versus, just because like Left 4 Dead is fun, but it's more fun when you play with friends, especially when you end up playing on like mods with your buddies. So yeah, guys, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys end up enjoying. It's a little bit of a different list. I know you guys may have not been expecting this. You guys may have wanted something like such as ranking maps, for example, which will come soon. Don't worry, fret not. But yeah, I just wanted to mix things up, and I wanted to spread things out and just basically have fun and talk about the game modes. So you guys can expect some other lists sometime soon, such as the maps and mutations modes rankings. But yeah, guys, this is it. I hope you ended up enjoying. If you did, please consider dropping a like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you guys end up enjoying another video from the most unique YouTuber you're ever going to see. Peace out, guys.